Hi, welcome to my third project for the CS50 Web Programming with Python and JavaScript course. My name is Isaac Newton Kissiedu. In this project, I'm going to take you through how I'm using the Flask API and also the flask-socketio API to create a chat web application that is similar to what we call the Slack, and this project is called the Flask project. So basically here is where the application.py file, where I am calling Flask and then flask-socketio, as you can see over here. And I want to take you through the source code behind the application, and later on I will show you how it works. So basically here is where I am storing the display names, as in the usernames of the people that have logged onto the system, and channels here represents something like a chat room. So I have created a basic a general chat room here that belongs to the system. So as you can see, the owner is system, and when users connect to this chat room, then I add them to this users list. So this in Python is called a dictionary, and a dictionary can contain key and key value pairs. So the key is general, and then the value is another dictionary that contains other set of data. So the way flask-socketio works is similar to how the normal Flask works, but it uses a different approach. It uses what we call the web socket. So here is the normal Flask as we know, and this one is taking the user to the default index.html page, which I will show you later on. But I want to show you where flask-socketio comes into play. So after the browser has loaded the full web page, then a connection will be sent from the browser to the socketio API, and then when the connection is successful, then this function would run. So just like how normal Flask works, this is handling the connected event. So after that happens, then in here I am going to set the display name as the data that is coming in. This is incoming data coming from here, and then I also get the current channel that the user is on, because it could happen that the user logged out and came back again, or the user changed the tab of the browser. So I am trying to get the previous channel the user was on, and then if I get those two information, I check whether the display name is not in the list of channels up here, list of channels from here. So if the user doesn't have any chat room for themselves, that is a private chat room, then over here I create a private chat room for them. And once I do that, the owner name becomes basically the display name that was set by the user, and then I add them again to the users that are connected to that chat room. So here is where I am using the join room API to actually add them to the room, and all these things work seamlessly with Flask, and is interesting. So once all these things are done, then I grab all the available channels that are not that do not belong to the current user. That's why I'm checking over here whether the channel is not equal to the display name. And once I do that, I add all the available channels, all the available users, all the channel messages, and I sent it back to the user. So basically this is how it works, and all these APIs here have something to do with this application. So here is where I am checking for when someone wants to create a new channel. So there is a JavaScript code that is sitting here, and it is doing that work for us. So let me go to CS50 static sites.js. So there is JavaScript code that is doing that work for us. So when someone wants to create a channel, this is for joining a channel, this is for leaving a channel. To create a new channel, when a new channel is created, so that should be up somewhere here. To create a new channel, yeah, this is the new channel button. So the new channel is going to set a new channel, and what that is doing is just setting an event listener to a button that I have on the UI. And then if the channel name is empty, I will not allow that to happen. So an alert will display this information to the user. Other than that, it will send this signal to the backend, create new channel with this owner and channel name. So that is what we saw over here. If I should come back here, so you see create new channel, and that is how Socket.io works. This is for deleting a channel, disconnection, disconnecting from a channel, and all that. So basically, let me show you how the interface looks like. To start the application, I have to run it from here, and then assuming we have two users connected to the application, this is the user interface I have created. So let's say Alice connects to the system, and Alice gets her own private room. And let's say Bob also connects to the application, and Bob is connected to their private room. So Alice can chat with herself here. Hi, my name is Alice. This is my private room. Bob can also do likewise. Hi, my name is Bob. Nobody is here at the moment. Now, assuming they want to chat with each other, so Bob can connect to the general room, and Alice can also join the general room. So as you can see, Bob and Alice are in the same room now. So now Alice can say hi Bob, and Bob can also reply by saying hello Alice. So as you can see, I have Bob saying this, and it's appearing on the same page with the timestamp and notification messages and all that. So here they can continue to chat, and they can also leave the chat room. So how are you doing? Then Bob can reply, I am doing great, something like that. So now let's say Bob decides to leave the chat room, so he clicks on leave, and now he comes back to his private chat room where he sees his messages here. Alice can also decide to leave, and she comes back to her private room where she sees her own messages. Bob can decide to create a channel for himself, let's say business. So once he does that, as you can see here, we have a new channel with Bob as the user. So he now has the delete button because he's the owner, but Alice can see that channel, but she doesn't have the delete button. So let's say Alice decides to join the business room, and then the name of the room appears up here. So now Bob in the business room can say, hi, welcome to the business room, and that appears here on Alice's screen. So Alice can say, wow, nice meeting you again Bob. And that works like that. So this is basically how it works, and I have learned a lot from this flask-socketio API, and I'm happy to come out with this application. I will end here and continue next time. Thank you.